Okay, so we're on maybe episode 14, and this is a great topic, which you and I have been talking about for the last few months, doing, and Chris is just being introduced to it, but the world's been introduced to it over the past 20 years, ever since zombie movies started, and that is prepping.
You're going to have to explain a little bit more. Prepping for what?
Yeah, prepping for an apocalyptic event. Mm-hmm. So, years ago, I was introduced to the book 1 Second After, right? And I think there's a guy in the South Towns here who's a CEO and owner of a big food company who created a whole video series on prepping.
Really?
Yeah, but the thing is, in this book, 1 Second After, you started it, you didn't finish it.
I'm working on it.
All right, right. But the key thing there is an electromagnetic pulse hits the U.S., wipes out computers everywhere, right? And it's stunning what happens when there's no more computers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just think of some basic stuff like cars drive with computers, planes are with computers, banking with computers, phones. I mean, imagine losing everything in 1 second because of an EMP. And it's 1 second after, whatever you've prepped until then is all you've got, right?
That's it. You're done.
Right. You're done, right? So in fact, the foreword to that book, I think, was written by Newt Gingrich.
It was, yeah.
It was, right? And it was trying to convince, I think, Congress to harden our key electronic stuff, like our military stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But
did it work, by the way?
I have no idea. We got to check that out.
I don't know. I'm sure
we must have, because if Newt Gingrich said it, right? So anyway, so we've been talking about what types of events could create a pandemic, and an EMP could happen. And an EMP, in that book, they use an example where one of our enemies throughout the world launched some nukes that were like a mile above various key spots in the U.S., and apparently that creates an electromagnetic pulse and wipes out computers. Yeah. But apparently this could happen naturally, right, with the sun. There could be a solar flare that wipes out computers. Okay. But it doesn't even have to be anything as extreme as an EMP. We just went through COVID, right? Yep. Couldn't get toilet paper, right?
Right.
I mean, people like Chris were wiping his butt with his hand, which was nasty.
No, it was actually a leaf.
A leaf. He was using leaves. Good. But unfortunately...
What'd you do in the winter, Chris?
No.
I heated the leaves.
Yeah. But also...
We all know they're crunchy. Not going to work.
No, he heated them. He just warmed them up. No, he just kept them in the house overnight. That was his toilet paper stash. It was leaves, right? He had a whole arsenal of leaves.
Sometimes I wouldn't wipe. Sometimes I wouldn't wipe.
But unfortunately, they had fungus on them.
Sorry, can we go on a side?
Yeah.
Have you heard about these people that use a reusable toilet paper?
No.
Like in an effort to not be wasteful, they make these little cloth squares that they use as toilet paper, and they put them in a little bin next to the toilet, and then they wash them. So they just they never use toilet paper.
Oh, it's kind of like reusable diapers.
So that's one.
It's like diapers, right?
Well, kind of, except...
No, cloth diapers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you're way too young for this, but...
I was a cloth diaper, baby.
You were?
My mom was a
Yeah,
baby.
no, but there's still cloth diapers, but in the olden days, like when I was a kid, I think they only had cloth diapers.
Oh, really?
Right? So...
Wow, you're old.
I know, right? I know. That was like 1920. So...
Dinosaurs.
Right, yeah. Well, the woolly mammoth and the big wolf, right?
Dire wolf.
We're going to have the dire wolf. Is it the dire wolf?
Yeah. 10,000
Yeah, we're going to have the dire wolf. So, anyway.
And little baby Tom walking around
Right, right. With the woolly mammoth and the dire wolf. And cloth diapers, right? Well, at the time, they only had leaf diapers, right? That was the Chris D'Addario's heyday when they had leaf diapers.
Good times.
But yeah, that's right. So anyway... So there's also, but by the way, I was going to say that the problem Chris had is when he was using leaves, there was fungus on the leaves. So then he got all kinds of infections, and he actually couldn't go to the bathroom for a year. So that was an interesting year.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's EMP, there's pandemics, right? And I was going to ask you to look these up, but you don't even have your computer in front of you.
You mean like different potentials for...
Yeah, like we just went through COVID, and that caused all kinds of havoc, but... I just did a quick search to find out how many pandemic-worthy events have there been in this century, right? And we had avian flu in 2001. We had,
that wasn't a pandemic.
No, pandemic-worthy. Like, it could have been.
Oh,
It wasn't, but
okay.
it could have been.
Got it,
I mean,
got it.
COVID became a pandemic, but these other ones did not.
Okay.
But they could have been, right? I mean, there's a surprising number since 2000.
All right, hit me.
There's swine flu in 2009. There was Ebola in 2000. Or no, there was MERS. Remember, there was SARS, right? SARS in, I think, was 22 or 12 or something like that. But anyway, in the last 25 years, we had SARS, we had MERS, we had swine flu,
yeah.
we had Ebola twice, we had Zika, remember the Zika virus?
Yeah.
We had monkeypox, and we had avian flu. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if you count Ebola twice. And Ebola, I think, was like a 50% kill rate. That was the problem. It killed people too quickly. It wasn't successful.
So why would these pandemic-worthy events make us prep?
Well, because if look what happened with COVID, right? You couldn't get toilet paper. You know, you
everybody's freaking out.
Yeah, freaking out. But also, think about how dependent we are, right?
The supply chain.
Yeah. Well, think about that. If there's no food in the grocery stores, we can't eat.
It's true.
We're done eating. Right? And we got to eat every day.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But I mean, there's deer running all around, but do we know how to catch a deer and cook the deer? I mean, some people do, but
skin
do
it.
we?
Gotta
Yeah.
skin it.
And by the way, that's a big deer. You got to have a lot of people eating that deer, right?
Yep.
And how many deer are
Because you
there?
also don't have any way to store the meat.
Right. And then, so once the grocery stores are out of food, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Unless you're prepped, right?
Yep.
But there's other things, like Chris, you mentioned the Civil War, right?
Yeah.
I mean, things are getting pretty heated, right? Or think of it this way, cyber. Imagine we wake up one day, and I have thought about this for my own sake, and our bank accounts are all zeroed out, right?
Yeah.
We have no more money because everything is just stored electronically, right? You don't have a mattress of cash, and even if you did, it wouldn't be worth anything,
Right.
Because if the banking system is wiped out, there's no more money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then what do you have? And that could happen. I mean, there are cyber people out there right now that are fighting to get in, and those are fighting to keep them out, right?
Okay, so what do we do?
Wait. There's still others. What about AI?
AI.
Remember the documentary film called Terminator? Remember that?
Right.
Right? And maybe that happened in the multiverse. But the point is, AI is getting to be something serious, and it just keeps going, right? I mean, if AI decides that it gets smart enough to wipe out the banking system or start stealing identities, you don't know what's true anymore. A lot of things can wipe out society as we know it. So
Okay.
it brings us to prepping, right?
Got it.
Right? So
Yeah.
and so Brandy and I have been talking about this, and we've actually purchased. Remember, my plan is we need water, right? One
Yeah.
thing we need is water.
For sure.
So water, yeah, because you can't live that long without water. So every time we go to Wegmans or Tops, we buy one of those big things of water.
Yep.
Probably a dumb idea. There's probably some simple way to do it, like a giant jug in your backyard that holds like 500 gallons or something, right?
But the thing about buying it is it's sealed, right? If you
Yeah.
had some big jug, you'd have to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But so in terms, we need water.
Yes.
But there's another thing that you mentioned a little while ago, which is what about a way to collect rainwater?
Right, like rain barrels. Yep.
Yeah.
So you put them where the gutters are, and then they dump water off your roof into these barrels, and then we just need a way to filter that water so we could use it.
So that is something that maybe
Which
a system.
by the way, a lot of people are doing already, using that rainwater to water their gardens or whatever else.
But we're not doing that.
I have one.
You do.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. but we should have a system in place for storing water, because no matter how many jugs of water we get, if this
never
thing
gonna
lasts
be
a while, it's not going to be enough.
And you need
right?
a renewable one that's going to take the rain.
Yeah, and it keeps raining, right?
does.
And snowing in
Yeah.
the winter, right?
Yeah.
So, and then there's another form of water that Chris talked about that he likes, his favorite form of water, which is pee, right?
We're not doing that, Chris.
No,
We're
Chris
not doing
calls
that,
it.
Chris.
Chris calls it pee
Hear
cola.
me out, guys.
Pee cola, because it's his own form of soft drink.
Tastes just like a Monster. What are you drinking over
Yeah,
there?
right. So, Chris, what were you saying about pee? You were saying that somebody uses pee to drink.
Yeah, there are people that drink pee.
They're
me.
These are astronauts, right?
And not just on a dare.
Right? Yeah, not on a dare.
Yeah.
No, astronauts,
Right.
right?
You mentioned in the movie.
Somebody.
Mars.
He
It's
doesn't
not
drink
to-
his
yeah,
pee in that movie.
I think that it was not R rated, it was PG, so they didn't show the pee drinking. But
They always
But it's a known
No.
fact that astronauts drink their own. They drink their own urine.
Yes.
So they filter it somehow.
filter
They don't just pee into each other's
So we
mouths.
need to figure that
right?
out. We need
Let's
to find
let's
the
see if they
filtration.
filter it. Let's
Right,
see.
so they must filter it. You can't drink pee.
This is gonna be a question we'll Google search. Do astronauts
So speaking of that
drink
movie
pee?
Martian, I had this not really that bright person in my life years ago, and she was certain that we've landed on Mars and that guy got stuck on Mars. She said, "Yeah, it was a true story, right?" And I said, "No, it was a movie. We've never landed on Mars." We got into an argument over it, so it was very realistic.
Yeah, so
You should watch it. And there's a book too.
they purify it.
So they
It's
purify
called,
it.
It's called aquaporin technology, where in space astronauts are forced to drink their wastewater.
Okay, but
without
here's the thing,
measuring
Even
tech-
sweat.
Here's the thing, though.
We can
How,
get one of
no,
those.
Here's the thing, though.
I still don't want to.
How much do we have to drink each day?
Ooh.
There's no way we can live off of our own filtered pee. Right?
It'll be a missed opportunity though if we don't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I get up like 5 times a night to go to the bathroom. But it's not emptying enough that
Let's
I'd be able
start
to
with
drink
rainwater.
64 ounces a day.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, let's do the rainwater rather
Start
than...
with rainwater.
I hope we never get to the point where we have to deal with pee.
I wonder how much that. I mean, it might be cool to get one just to test it.
I
Would you
don't
test
think
it
so.
out?
No, I would not.
You wouldn't? Would you, Chris?
I would
Chris
definitely,
would.
I would definitely do
You
it.
would, yeah.
It might be worth it just to see if Chris will
Yeah, yeah.
actually
Let's
do
see
it.
if Chris likes
Yeah,
it.
buy me
But, see, you guys are too young. But there used to be a cartoon, a commercial with a cereal, and they were trying to figure out if it was good. So they said, "Let's get Mikey to eat it. He'll eat anything." That's like Chris. Let's get Chris to try it. He'll try anything. Okay. So anyway, the other thing we need is food,
Yep.
right? Now again, you can't be chasing squirrels down and stuff. And I mean, how many can you get? You know that TV show Alone?
Yep.
These are like wilderness experts, you know? They live for this stuff. They can only survive with weapons and stuff in the wilderness for like, I think one guy survived 90 days, but some are bounced out after 2 weeks.
It's crazy.
Now, we have an advantage over them in that we don't have to build a structure,
Right.
but they have a huge advantage over us, which is they actually know how to catch stuff.
Right,
Whereas we
right.
don't, right?
Yeah.
And then even if we caught it, we wouldn't know what to do with it exactly. We'd probably figure it out.
Yeah.
You
Quick.
should learn that stuff.
Right, so, but anyway,
That's really interesting. Not just what we need to buy.
what we need to learn, what
but the
skills we need to have,
learn.
right?
I like that.
You're right, Chris. That's a good idea. Finally, you've added value to a podcast. Holy shit. Finally. You know, we've been talking, when will Chris finally add some value? You know, he gets a haircut and suddenly he's adding a shitload of value. But you're right. Wait. It was Chris that said that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That was
What
good.
skills do we need, right?
Came up with some good stuff with the tipping thing.
No, you come up with a lot of good stuff. No, he adds a lot of value. So, especially when you don't show up. But food though, remember we talked about using that, I think it was called Wise Storage,
Yep.
WISE Storage.
Yep.
We haven't done it yet, but you can buy food that lasts like 20 years.
Yep.
And then you can kind of rotate it.
Yeah.
And apparently it's not bad.
I think we got to try it.
We got to try it.
We gotta get it.
We got to get like a year's supply of Wise food storage and keep it in the basement.
Don't you think we should try it before, just in case it's nasty?
Let's try one.
Buy like a sample pack.
Let's get a sample.
I mean,
pack.
not that we're really gonna care if we're running out of food, but
Yeah, because we're not going to be like, oh my God, I'm not eating this. It's not steak, right? There's no salt. No, I'm not eating this.
Right.
Or it's not super healthy. No, I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
No, I'm not eating
I mean,
this.
vegan options.
Yeah, right. Or maybe there's only vegan options,
Well,
right?
the popular thing people are doing now are they're doing chicken farms.
Oh yeah, we could. Well, we're talking about if we ever get that shed.
We're not
You know,
getting the
no,
shed.
we're getting the shed. We're getting the
The
shed.
shed doesn't even exist.
Yes, it does. I still have faith
Uh-huh.
that the shed's coming. So we could put the shed out in the backyard and convert it into a. We could either get the shed that might not exist and convert it into a chicken coop, or just get a chicken coop.
I think just a chicken coop would be just fine.
All right, we're gonna get a chicken coop because we want to do some eggs
Yeah.
because they crank out a lot of
They
eggs.
do.
And eggs are expensive now.
Yeah, so
They are.
the other thing we need are, so what if you've got stuff? You got water, you got your pee. Chris is drinking pee every day, right? And we got a lot of juice, let's call it. He'll call it pea juice, right? So we got the pea juice. People are like, I want to get me some of that pea juice. They're going to storm our house to get Chris's pee. They're going to basically tie him up, just keep feeding him water so he can pee and they can drink the pee. No, but they're going to try to take our stuff. So what do we need?
We need some weapons.
We got weapons.
We need weapons, right? So we bought a 12 gauge. we bought a AR-15. We need to have a lot of ammo, right?
True.
Because guns are only good if you have ammo, right?
Right.
Now, we're not gun people really, so we got to practice too, because that's another skill we have to learn.
The
Because
slingshot.
one time I went to South Dakota to visit a client, and there are gun people out there, right? So I had to stay overnight, and the guy said, "Hey, you want to go out and do something with us?" So I'm like, "Sure, I'll do something with you." So we go out to this gun range, which was kind of like golf. There's a different hole you go to, and the clay pigeon comes out in a different way, right? So I get up there, and I haven't shot before, so I get up there, aim, missed. I missed like the first 8 clay pigeons. So the guy goes, dude, let me show you how to do it. So he gets it to me, and he says, put the butt against your cheek, and your one movement, right? Your whole body is just one movement. And I hit like 50 or 60% after that, right? So I was getting pretty good.
Yeah.
And we shot for hours. So then, with my new skills, I got one of those things where you sling the clay pigeon up. And I went over to my friend Paul Phelan's place out in the wilderness. And I wanted to show off how great I was, because I could shoot now, right? So we threw up 20 of these things. And I shot at all 20. Now, with these new skills, how many do you think I hit out of 20?
I'm gonna say 15 because you're a great guy.
Yeah. You say 1? I hit 0. I didn't get any.
I was being generous.
You were being generous. I thought I'm definitely going to hit at least half because I'm really good at this now. I didn't hit any. I don't know what was going on. He flung them up there. I saw it. I shot. And I had like the buckshot too. It's not like I had slugs, that only have one thing. I don't know what was going on, but I could not hit the broadside of a barn. So we probably need some skills, right?
Yeah.
Because if someone's coming in on our stuff, you don't want to be missing
Right.
at that point, right?
Right.
Or maybe getting the wild animals that we got to get.
Yeah.
But you need bullets too,
Yep.
right? We need ammo
Ammo
because
and weapons.
weapons with the ammo, right? And I hope
And the skill.
and the skill. But I hope it's like, because we don't want to resort to knives, right? We don't want to be like knifing people. No. I do not want to get there. Shooting people will be good, but not the knifing. That's just too much. By the way, I don't even want to shoot people.
No.
But if you're protecting your stuff, right?
Yep.
And people are going to want stuff.
Yep.
And they're going to see a house like ours out in the middle of the wilderness. They're going to be like, that seems like a good place.
Yep.
We want some of that.
Yeah, we
Especially
heard they were prepping.
right on that podcast.
Yep.
Because there's millions of people listening. Oh, and when they see the new roof that we're putting in the front, they're going to be like, not only will we get food and water, but we'll have a nice place to sit.
Right, shelter.
On peaceful days, right? Although there might not be too many
I wonder if
peaceful days.
a hired security would be a good business in the apocalypse.
Yes,
Trade
right?
some food for
For people who are going to do all the stabbing and shooting for you, right? Then you don't have to do
Yeah,
that.
but you think about like the olden days when people were homesteading, they just protected themselves, right?
So what you're saying is, man up here.
Yeah,
Let's
grow
protect
a pair,
ourselves.
Chris.
Right. Yeah. Come on, Chris.
You're the security.
Yeah, Chris, what do you think? Well, you think you're just coming here and staying for free? You got a good haircut and you just get to stay and eat for free? No, you're the security.
Oh man.
Okay, so another thing we need is community, right?
Yeah.
Because we can't do it alone. So you need to be in it. I've always thought it'd be cool to be in a development with fellow preppers. By the way, we're not even preppers yet. But in my vision, we are preppers.
Yeah.
And now we're in a development of preppers. So not only do we have to become preppers, but we need a community of preppers.
Yeah,
Right? With skills.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
But they also need to be physically, you have to literally have your neighbors.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to go somewhere else.
No, we need to be in a community with our neighbors.
Yeah,
The compound.
yeah.
Right?
Ah.
The compound, right? Okay, so we
Picture
need bandages and meds and stuff like that,
First aid
right?
supplies.
Right? I don't know how long meds last, but we should start collecting meds. NyQuil. I have this cold right now. I wouldn't have been able to sleep last night without the NyQuil. Right?
I think we've all become very soft, and I think if this happens, we're gonna have
We're not
to
going to
get tough
harden right
real
away.
quick.
No, it takes years to get hardened, right?
Yeah.
If you took any one of the three of us and dropped us into 1700, we'd be dead in like 6 hours.
True.
And even if we weren't dead, we'd want to be dead, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not hardy anymore, right?
No.
We need heat. We need warmth.
NyQuil.
We need NyQuil, right? so anyway, we need first aid stuff. We need somehow energy for cooking, heating. And Chris, you're totally on this pee thing. You're also on the poop thing, right? Because Chris Chris talked about making the poop oven.
I don't
Right?
like this idea.
Yeah, but wait till you need heat. So what Chris's idea? Give us your idea about you mash up the poop,
Well,
you light it.
I think so.
I mean, you've lit a lot of your farts when you were a kid, right?
Oh my
Well,
God.
it's like
It's the same basic concept, except it's a steady flame, right?
it's got to go somewhere. You know,
the poop.
the waste that we have. So some African tribes they'll use it as a heating thing.
So, in fact, remember when we were in India?
Yeah.
They had all those poop patties.
Cow patties.
Cow patties.
Yeah.
There was a ton of
And-
cow patties all along. They were stacked up.
From
Yeah.
manure or
From
No, not for manure, for burning.
Okay, there you go.
Remember, it was for burning.
yeah, but it was for cow. It was cow poop.
Cow poop,
That they
yeah.
use as as lighter food,
Yeah.
basically, to light
That's
them.
what I'm talking about.
And I looked up when we were in India that you can buy them on Amazon.
Yes,
You
right.
can buy the cow patties. to
Now, they're
use
not
as
for
a fire
eating, Chris.
starter.
I know you're going to be drinking pee. Don't eat the patties, okay? They look like hamburger patties,
So
but
you're
they're
saying,
not.
so you're saying we could do that with human poop?
Yeah.
Say, why not? We have as good a poop as cows,
Do we?
right? Do we? I don't know. Well, they eat way healthier than we do, so.
Grass.
Grass. I mean, we're eating we're eating cow, right?
True.
So anyway, heat somehow,
Poop
but also
patties.
like fire sticks.
Yeah.
Oh, what about lint?
Oh, there you go.
Although it burns too quickly, you'd have to have
fire
a mountain of lint, and just pull like cotton candy. You're pulling pieces off it.
But the lint is the fire starter.
Yeah, we still need
For
wood.
the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need an axe to chop up the wood
Yeah.
because we'll probably run out of gas for the chainsaw.
Yeah.
We need radios. Radios? You know, I did a little tiny bit of prepping like 15 years ago, and I got a hand crank radio,
There you go.
and it actually worked.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I wonder if there's hand crank walkie talkies.
I know that there's hand crank flashlights.
See if there's any hand crank walkie talkies. But I did see that.
Might be
There's
a lot.
there are hand crank flashlights.
Yep.
We need hand crank
I have a
flashlights
hand
too.
crank radio and flashlight in one.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Thank you, Ella Bean.
Yeah, we need some hand cranked radios and
Yeah.
flashlights, right?
Yep.
And walkie talkies if possible, but Chris will tell us that. Now, I did read that Duracell batteries store for 10 years. AA batteries.
No, there's no hand crank.
Why do we
hand
need
crank
hand
walkie-
crank walkie talkies?
Well, they go with batteries. And Duracell batteries only store for.
Okay, so we're under attack, but I've got to go out to get some food.
Well, we're not necessarily under attack.
Okay.
I mean, we might just be living, right?
Okay, sure.
And you have to go out someplace.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go so far away that you can't hear me if I have like an emergency whistle.
Okay, a whistle
You
would
can
be good,
find
but
me.
what if you are? What if it's a mile away?
Then you're going.
Okay, right. But then I'll probably need the walkie-talkie.
So we need a superpowered whistle.
Yes,
that
yes.
can travel
Yeah,
very-
or a walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
It'll
he
be
just
like-
said those don't exist.
It'll be like, can you go? And you come to me, can you go?
Yeah. No, but Chris, are you sure they don't exist?
No, I looked it up. There's not
Excuse me. Sorry, still I got this cold. Anyway, so
So whistles.
or walkie-talkies
Okay.
or both,
Okay.
and Duracell batteries.
Sure.
But you'll have to cycle those because we don't know when the apocalyptic event will occur. So
maybe like a two-way radio,
two-way radio, isn't that a walkie-talkie?
kind of.
Oh, CB maybe. Remember this? Oh, you don't remember the
Don't-
'70s.
if you have an
You were not
EMP,
born until '78, so. But I was alive in the '70s, and there was a big thing with CB radios,
Yeah.
right?
No. I
No.
don't know anything about
Okay, what about stuff to trade?
that. Okay.
My idea was whiskey, but you said, what are a bunch of drunks going to be able to trade for, right?
All right.
Well, actually, I found one. It's $70.
$70 for a hand
It
crank?
can be solar charged too.
Oh my God, that's great. Oh,
That's cool.
solar batteries, I read last between 10 and 15 years.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Solar charged batteries.
So talking range is 10 miles.
10 miles. That's perfect.
Pretty good. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
we're getting them anyway. Let's get them for fun. Oh, we have phones. Probably don't need them right now, but it'd be fun anyway.
That might be kind of fun.
Let's get them. Okay, so cigarettes. People like to smoke. We could trade cigarettes.
Yeah.
Gold.
It's very short-sighted though.
You mean if they're smoking because they're going to die of
Yeah.
lung cancer?
Well, and you're gonna run out of cigarettes eventually.
Yeah, but
like a pellet.
we might not need to live forever like this.
Booze, get all the.
You know, because keep in mind, it's not just an EMP. It could also be a natural disaster that has you laid up for 2 or 3 months, right?
Yeah, I guess I was picturing more years.
But it could be years. You know, cigarettes. You can get a whole shitload of cigarettes, maybe. And then now, since we don't smoke them, we wouldn't even be able to cycle them, right?
Don't people smoke like a pack a day?
Well,
Some do.
it's wait a second. We're desperate at the moment. You get one a day, okay? You get 2 a day. Just suck it up. You get 2 a day, or maybe wean off.
If I was a smoker, I'd just smoke them while I got them. Smoke,
Exactly.
and be done.
Just live your
Cold
normal
turkey,
life.
I'm
right?
done.
Right. Okay. What about entertainment?
Puzzles.
I mean, we're not going to be fighting off war or militias all day long. I mean,
Sports.
we're going to have a little downtime.
So that was volleyball thing.
Baseball gloves,
Pickleball.
baseballs. We probably have those. Did you say pickleball?
It's a
funny.
sign.
Oh shit. Okay, so pickleball, badminton,
A deck of
cards.
cards.
How about cards? Board games.
Yeah.
You like board games?
Love board games.
Puzzles.
Eh.
Maybe not for you, but other people like them.
Puzzles, you can only do them once.
No, do them. Take them down.
No.
Do 'em
nobody
again.
does a puzzle twice.
No, I've watched TV shows twice. Right? So have you.
That's true.
So paper to write on,
Yeah.
right? A lot of paper. Oh, Olivia just bought a chessboard. We played our first game the other day.
Nice.
Books
Books.
for entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Wait, is
You
there
have to-
electricity in this? In
No, let's say it's an EMP and there's no electricity. And we're in the north, so it's not going to be daylight. We're only going to get 5 or 6 or 7 hours of daylight each day in the winter. But you got to do something, right?
At night, yeah.
Okay. So, in addition to those, bicycles. Like we have a bicycle right behind Chris,
Yeah.
We
right?
should get something that allows. I remember reading something one time that said that people could hook to their bicycles up to their washing machine. So we need to do something where you can ride your bicycle
Stay
to create
fit.
energy and create energy.
Oh, that's a good. Chris, look it up. Is there anything that we can ride our bicycle and create
Connect
energy?
it to like some kind of
Like a battery.
yeah.
Yeah, because Emma's on that thing
That'd
a
be
lot,
cool,
like at
right?
least once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
It's good that it doesn't take up too much space in your house.
right. But believe me, if you need the energy, then you stay fit and you create energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so while Chris is doing that, seeds, right? We can grow stuff because we have our plants that we grew out there last year.
Seeds is a great idea.
Let's see. I do have to. Can you guys keep it going while I go blow my nose?
Sure.
All right,
It is possible.
Chris, give the answer while I run back. I'll be right back.
It is possible, but the amount of power is very limited if it's generated by a human. So if you do like a generator kind of thing.
So maybe not to store power, but
Yeah.
maybe
Okay, so what about the biggest threat to our survival, which are other people? What will people become? Chris, what will people become?
Their morality will become more about survival rather than
Being kind.
being kind, goodness, or whatever.
Right, so all the good people will be killed by all the vicious people. And then,
Survival.
look at Walking Dead, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I just had a thought. We should
What's
probably learn how to be really good with a bow and arrow. Because we're gonna run out of ammo.
That's a
Slingshots.
great idea. A compound bow. Okay, this summer we're gonna make a fire with the flint
Yeah.
several times,
Yeah.
right out back there, and let's get compound bows. Want to get 2?
Yeah, and maybe learn how to throw a hatchet.
I like
Some
that idea too.
survival- some
We can go to
primitive
Hatchet and
survival
Hops.
Okay.
Right?
Alright, yeah, I'm in.
Have you heard of that, Chris? Hatchet and Hops, which great combination. Beer and hatchets, right?
That's not.
Yeah, you drink beer and you throw hatchets against.
Have you ever done it?
No, I've never done
They
it.
have like a babysitter that makes sure that only one person is in the hatchet throwing area at a time.
time?
They're
Yeah.
like a gatekeeper. You have to come outside of the gate. It's kind of fun though.
But a compound bow would be a cool
Yeah.
thing for us to do.
I think it's a
Because
great
we have
idea.
space back there, right? We
Yeah.
get one of those big hay bales,
Yeah.
right, with the target on it.
Cool. That'd be
All
good,
right.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so but the people, it also goes back to community, because we need allies, right? Wait,
I'm
what?
totally distracted.
But
Now I want to learn how to wield a sword.
yeah, okay. I don't know if that we want to be doing that,
I
right?
know, but that would be fun.
Remember
too.
my favorite historian, Dan Carlin?
Yeah.
He said that all those battles, like in times when you had swords and stuff like that and you didn't have guns, he said that it was so bad for people to have to do that even people at the last minute when they were charging wouldn't do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because getting bludgeoned is worse, of course, than bludgeoning. But bludgeoning's bad too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The whole thing sucks. So
Yeah.
I like your bow and arrow.
Okay, all right, we'll
Right?
stick with the bow and arrow.
Yeah. And I don't know. Is it still called a bow and arrow?
Yes.
It's
Sure
a bow
it is.
and there's arrows,
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to start our prepping plan.
Okay.
If you want, Chris, we can include you. Oh, by the way, remember we did that one episode a few weeks ago where we all did our plans,
Yep.
our goals for 24. You never did yours,
Yeah, I never did.
What the heck?
Chris.
I know.
We
How are you
did
going to
ours.
achieve success? if
In
you
fact,
don't
I
have
think
a
we
plan?
sent ours to Chris, and he didn't
No.
even like copy ours.
No, you didn't.
We did?
No.
No, we did them though.
You didn't send
You
me.
sent me yours.
I
and
sent.
you mine.
Oh yeah,
I
we
don't know
didn't.
if
We
we
didn't
sent
include.
mine.
Oh, so that's what.
All right,
Chris
we're gonna
lost.
send
we,
it to
we
you.
need to redo it. So
Okay.
when you say you're gonna include me with the bow and arrow, am I standing with an apple on my
Yeah. You're not going to be able to shoot the arrow, but you're going to be the target. No, but what we'll do is we'll let you run across as fast as you can, right? No, I think what I was going to say is in our prepping program, you know,
Yeah,
because we're going to create some prepping.
I'm actually doing that over the summer with a friend of mine.
You're prepping?
Yeah, he's gonna teach me how to skin a deer.
All right.
Cool.
That's good. I like that. And I have to learn how to clean my AR-15.
Yeah.
So we got to do that this summer.
I'm sure there's a YouTube somewhere that we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
figure
I mean,
that
it's just taking it
out.
apart.
It's just time.
You know, I'm sure taking it apart's not the challenge. Putting
it
it together is the challenge.
Yeah.
My friend Michael and I took apart my shotgun to clean it.
Yeah.
It was an hour.
Did you get it back together?
We got it back together, and
And
then
it
I
worked?
shot it after. Yeah.
that's
No, I got it back together. I didn't shoot anything out of it because it was so hard to put back together. I didn't want to shoot it again
You were
because then
done.
I'd have to clean it again.
Yeah.
But the AR-15 we have to clean.
All right.
Right. All right. So I think we're ready to start prepping.
I think so.
All right. That's it. Anything else,
Chris?
No, I think we covered everything.
Brandy?
Nope. We covered it all the way to the pee and the poop.
Final thing.
Yeah.
Do we need to learn how to cook?
Yeah.
No.
Because there won't be any food.
Right. We're going to have to eat food naturally the way it comes out of the earth anyways.
We're gonna eat raw deer.
Right.
I'm
yeah.
not cooking anything over poop patties. So,
You might have to.
no. I'm eating it raw.
Well, what about? Well,
Meat.
by the way,
We'll have to
because
cook- we'll have to
wait,
cook
wait.
the meat.
It doesn't just have to be poop patty stoves. It could be wood.
Okay.
We
all
do
right.
have wood. We're in the
All right.
woods,
Okay,
right?
I'm in. I'll cook
I
it
mean,
then.
we start out with the flint and the lint,
Yep.
and then we put the twigs on top of it.
Yep.
Then we put the bigger ones.
Yep.
Then the bigger ones, and soon we have a roaring fire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In fact, in my backyard, I don't know if you can see, but I have a thing that goes in with a grill that goes over it.
Yep.
And I cook. I used to cook when we used that thing there, but we're gonna do that in this one out front.
We can do that.
All right.
Yep.
All right. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.